In 2014, she was named by New Jersey Monthly Magazine as a top 25 leading woman entrepreneur and business owner, and featured in the Forbes New Special New Jersey Women Business Leaders section, and often interviewed or asked to be a guest speaker. Theodora is an adjunct professor of marketing and management at Georgian Court University. She holds an MS of Business Administration from Rider University and a BS from Georgian Court University. So please welcome Theodora Sergiu.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for asking me to be here today. I'm very excited, and I hope to pass on a little bit of information that hopefully you'll be able to use. Funny how you should mention mentors, because my first piece of advice is to find a mentor. They'll guide you, educate you, encourage you, and energize you. They'll help you find your path of success to become a successful entrepreneur. It's very important, whether it's someone here from SCORE, join different groups like Najabo, entrepreneur think tanks, or just following something online that will give you a little bit of a spark, a little bit of a lift up and go in the morning. So find what works for you and do it. Entrepreneurship is something that people describe in different ways. Something that I really agree with is this one quote where it says, "It's jumping off a cliff and building a parachute on the way down." Because that is what business and being a business owner is like. You don't know what's going to come at you each day. I'll tell you a little bit about how we started. We own Nicholas Pools. We're right here in Toms River on Route 9. Our journey began 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I was sitting in my family room, and my dad, who worked in construction, built pools for many companies in the area, came home and said to my brothers, my mother, and I, "What do you guys think? Should we open up our own business, our own store?" Well, I was 16, and my brother's 15 and 14, and we're all like, "Yay, wow, let's do it. A really great idea. All of us can do this." So we took on the challenge, not knowing what lay ahead. My father knew the business in and out. He knew how to build pools. He had been in business early on when he first came here from Cyprus as a Greek diner owner, working in diners, as many Greeks do. He ended up leaving that and going into construction, and was very good at what he did. But he felt it was time to move on and do something for himself, for his family. So together we found a place to rent, a store, and begin our adventure. We started with my father selling, my father building. My brothers and I helped. My mother and I were in the store. We had to figure out how to do accounting, how to do marketing, how to do everything you need to do to run a business. It wasn't easy, a lot of trial and error. By the time we started, I also started attending Georgian Court, and I took a lot of business classes, majored in business and English literature, graduated with both degrees, and that helped us along the way. But really, it was a lot of trial and error, and that's what you're going to have to do as a business owner. Not everything works, but you have to be prepared. A lot of what Natalia said is true, where you have to be ready financially to start a business, because once you begin, you should have a good 6 months at least in expenses saved up. Have your mortgage payment, car payment, whatever it takes to pay all of your bills for minimum 6 months, you better have that set aside for yourself, because you don't know what you're going to find, how your business is going to do. You need to be able to pay your bills and, keep your house, keep your car, keep your life intact while you're building your business. Once we started, we worked very hard as a family. We worked weekends, we worked days, we worked nights. We went 7 days a week, morning to night. Summers were spent there, weekends were spent there. So a lot of hard work is going to go into starting your business. Be prepared for it. You're not going to start it and then, it shouldn't be something that it's part-time. To be successful, you have to put in the time. A lot of people look at people who are successful years later and say, wow, how'd you get to that point? Well, you know what? It was 7 days a week, morning to night, we worked. Other people worked a little bit. My friends, can we go out here? Can we go out there? I'm like, no, I'm working. What do you mean you're working? I'm working. My parents are paying for my college education. I'm going to school. At nights I'm working, weekends I'm working, and we're seasonal. So when we first started, and now we have off in the winter, but when we first began, we worked very hard throughout the whole summer. And then after September, everything pretty much ended for us. So I worked nights and weekends at JCPenney selling clothing. And then during the day, I would go to school, go by the store, do accounting, do marketing. So you have to put in the time. If you want to be successful, there's no other way around it. You have to put in the time. I have a great picture that I took this summer of my son, because we go back to Cyprus each year. That's where my family's from. And he's jumping off of a cliff, because over there they cliff jump, and he's 12. And he's in the middle of the air with his hands up, big smile on his face, and you see the cliff and the water, and he's just, I said, I wish I brought it to put it up, because that's what entrepreneurship is. That's what starting a business. You jump off that cliff. Challenges, many, from customers to business partners. Trust is very important. And again, going back to all the things Nathalia said, when we first started, customers would come in looking for my father or my brother or someone besides this girl standing behind the counter. Why? They saw a girl. This is construction. This is a man's business. And they really did not think that the girl behind the counter was going to be able to help them. They needed a part. I would get it for them. They'd kind of be surprised. So I said, well, what am I going to do to, gain my customers' trust so that they know when they walk in through the door, I can take care of them? Well, I started peeking behind my counter to the parking lot. And when I saw a customer walking in with a part they needed, by the time they came in the door and came to the counter, I had the part waiting for them. They didn't even have to open their mouth and say, I need this. They'd walk stunned. Why? Well, why are you surprised that I know what I'm doing? So yeah, you need to gain trust. You need to do what you need to do and do it well and show that to people. It has to radiate. You have to show confidence, and you have to be prepared and know what you're doing. Business partners. Issues also with business partners. People used to doing business a certain way, and then if you try to introduce something different, you might have to, work your way through. And we all need business partners, from banks to suppliers to different people that we have to work with to get our things done. So build your relationships with your business partners. Basically, after I finished my education, I got my degrees at Georgian Court, I went to Rider, I finished my MBA. I decided to leave. I left the country. I went to Cyprus, where my family's from, and I taught college for 3 years there. I met my husband, we moved to London, lived there a few years, and then came back here to start our family. When we came back, my plan was to maybe work a year or two with my parents and then go back to teaching. Well, my father built a nursery attached to my office at the store. And after that, I kind of felt I had no choice. I feel like he's like the mafia. He pulled me in and gave me no choice. I had to stay there. But that gave me the opportunity as a woman to have 3 children, be able to work, go there, bring my family there, work with my customers, keep doing what I'm doing, grow the business, and at the same time take care of my children, be near if they need me. I mean, anyone who has children knows that you get a phone call, you have to run to the school for whatever reason. So it's nice to be close to home. That is some of the advantages of being a business owner too. You can step out and step back in if you need to. After a couple of years, my father decided that he wanted to retire. So my mother and he worked many years and built the business. They built a new facility, 13,000 square foot store on Route 9, and decided that it was time for them to start taking it easy. They worked hard for a long time. And they gave the opportunity to my brothers and I. They said, we're retiring. We feel one of you should continue. We're willing to fund you to continue the business. We'll lend you the money to buy the business from us. They weren't prepared to just give it to one of us. And you guys decide, what do you want to do? My brothers decided that they did not want to stay in the business. One decided to leave and go to Cyprus. He got married, has 4 children, is very happy there. The other brother decided he wanted to leave the business also. He went to Florida, opened up a diner, and, he's Greek. So, well, I mean, going forward, he's back now since last year, and he's selling for me. So. But my husband worked for IBM. He's very successful at what he does. And he came to me, he said, let's buy the business. And I was very hesitant. I'm like, really? You want to leave IBM and come into the pool business? And he's like, let's do it. Because he was at a point where his next level, they were speaking about moving us to Washington, D.C., possibly out of the country. He's like, look, if I stay where I am at, I'm going to have to take the next level, and we're going to have to move away. Let's do this. So we went to my parents and said, we've decided we're doing this. we're buying it. My parents sold us the business for $1 million. They financed it. So we went to a lawyer, we drew up a contract. This is what you're buying the business for. These are my payments each month. And it was very official. That's another piece of advice I give to you for opening up a business, running a business, or partnering with someone. Don't just kind of do it verbally, get it written down. Go to a lawyer and get things done professionally the way they should be, so there's no issues or confusion going forward, because that can cause problems between you and your partner. You might be friends, you might be family, but if you have things in writing and you know this is what it is, this is the way it's going to be, then there's no problem. We paid off my father within 10 years. He was completely paid off, and the business was ours 100%. So I knew I had my payments, and I would send him a regular check as I would any other payment, and there were no problems or confusion or issues between us. So that's very important to do that. After we started, when my father retired and we started the business, we started to change things a little bit. We brought in new technology. We invested in computerized systems, inventory systems. We built up our website, built a website to begin with, and built up our website, which is very important, something you should invest in because that is your window to the outside world. Most people nowadays, if you want to buy something, you'll Google it, find out who in the area is selling this product, what are the reviews saying about this business. It's very important to have a website because that shows who you are. It's your first kind of introduction to your customer. So invest in getting a good website that people can come to and then contact you from there. We began to grow. We had to change some of our staff. We had to seek new relationships with some of our business partners. We also entered at a good time, but then slowly the economy changed. We all know that the past how many years have not been good ones. And we went from building 150 to 200 pools a year to 50 pools a year. That really caused us to refocus and to decide what we wanted to do. Because when you're used to building 150 pools and getting a certain income, and then all of a sudden your income goes down to 50 pools, there's a huge discrepancy there. So how do you keep your business going? You have a couple of choices. We went to a bank and we were able to secure funding so that we can keep our business going, especially during the winter when there's no funds coming in. We have credit that we use over the winter and they pay back in the summertime. And then it got to the point where my husband was up north because we started taking jobs outside of Ocean County, which we never really liked to do, but we had to keep going. So he was up north and he stopped in to say hello to his old friends from the IT world. And he was offered a position with a company called MicroStrategies. So he came home and said, I've been offered this position, what should we do? And we decided the best thing for us would be for him to take that, because then we would still be able to keep our lifestyle the way we're accustomed to, pay for our mortgage, pay for our cars, for our children, and then keep the business going, keep the money in the business that was coming in. We didn't need to take money out to live to keep that going. And we did. Over a certain amount of years, it had to do that. And that's a decision you have to make with your business. Is it worth reinvesting all your money to keep going? Or have you come to a point where you decide that it's not working, I need to cut my losses and move on, do something different, start something else? You know, it depends what you're doing. For us, there was so much invested there. We had so many customers and so much potential that we decided it would be best to keep it open, keep it going, and then go from there. So now, as the economy is beginning to come back, our numbers are going back up again. We're hoping that by the end of this year, we're back up to 100 pools again, which is really great. And, you know, you get busier, you move on, and so forth. But each person has to evaluate their situation and decide what's best for them. Hurricane Sandy was a big factor, especially for us. We send out, we have built over 3,000 pools in the area. We send out business cards, you know, little postcards to our customers when it's time to open pools and close pools. Out of the 3,000 I sent out, 300 came back the first year after Sandy from the post office saying there was no mail receptacle. 10% of our customers were gone. I mean, so that also had a lot to do with what we went through. We're local, our customers are local, so depending on the environment, the factors around you, it can affect you a lot. So you have to be able to move on from there. Being leaders in the industry, there are different things you can do to differentiate yourself from other people or from competitors. One thing that we began to do is to market ourselves, market market our company, our family business. I partnered with a couple people. I was contacted by Najabo and by Woodpecker Press, who Donna's here today. I wrote a little chapter in this big, bold business book, which is available if anybody wants one. And that helps get you recognized, helps people know you, know your name, know your business. I was awarded several different things. We have in here in New Jersey Monthly Magazine as a top businesswoman. So this differentiates me from other pool companies. It sets me apart as a leader, as someone who's qualified, knows what they're doing. I was written about in Industry Magazine, and one door opens another is another, they came out, did a interview, photo, and then also featured our work, which is really nice, and people read it, get interested in your product and you as a company. And then recently, Monmouth Health and Life. So network, get to know people, hand out business cards, and be available if somebody wants to talk to you or to find out more about you. And that's about it. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Theodora.